friend, Shabbat Shalom, and greetings to you all. It's only a few weeks till the Year of the Dragon, as we welcome the next of a series of new years that begin in the spring. And as I thought about it, I realized it's a double leap year this year. We get the extra day at the end of February, every 4 years, and add a day, and the Hebrew calendar, which isn't satisfied with an extra day, adds an extra month at the end of the year, resulting this year in a leap year in the Hebrew calendar also, in which case there's a double Pisces, the last month of the year, and of course a later Purim and what will appear later times for all the holy days next year. And as we get closer to the Year of the Dragon, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But before we get to those, we have another important day. This is it. We've reached International Holocaust Remembrance Day. To commemorate the liberation of death camps and to honor the victims of Nazi genocide. Light a candle. Remember. Say a prayer. Demand of your government officials that they do something to at least get the hostages free. Now, I haven't noticed a lot of news about it, either Holocaust Remembrance Day or the hostages, probably with the hope that no one will notice. So the only people who get pissed off are the people no one cares about. But what about the genocide now? Not Nazi, but just as sick, mindless, and twisted. We just throw the word Nazi around. It has no meaning anymore. Is it okay because they're not classic Nazis? Now, the world made a sacred promise. A shared responsibility as a world was to ensure never again. Where are the shouts? I see only anti-Israel protesting. And yet all the people I speak with, Jewish or otherwise, are disgusted, revolted, angry about the situation. And that it continues. For every Jew who thinks about taking the mezuzah off their door, there's a non-Jew who wants to put one up in solidarity. But this wasn't the only Jewish genocide, or attempted one, or enslavement, or abuse. From the desires of the Persian Prime Minister Haman for the eradication of all Jews, commemorated with Purim in the reading of the Book of Esther, to the exile from every country, from every home, to the horrible Russian pogroms, obviously still going on, to the refusal of the U.S. to allow Jewish refugees into America as they fled Nazi persecution. Little did they know they would have been welcomed wholeheartedly had they come up via South America. But we saw an event occur last week that was unprecedented in history and may never be seen again. The people were freed. What you have to realize is, this was not a one-shot deal. This is an always issue. Freedom is a right. We witnessed the festival that ushered in this freedom, the one we recreate every year and have for the last 3,500 years. Take it to heart. Make it have the same meaning in your life. Celebrate freedom, not theirs, but yours. We saw its positioning in the year. It takes place at the beginning of the year, in Aries, which represents new beginnings. And this was the new beginning. They ceased to be a group of people with a slave mentality, and were being forged into nationhood, a nation built on freedom, equality, laws, ritual. And what is more renewing, my friends, than freedom? Even though a cloud of white curtain in a far-off corner flashed, the hypnotic splatter mist slowly lifting, electric lights still struck like arrows, fired for the ones condemned to drift, or else be kept from drifting. Told it for the searching ones on the speechless seeking trail of lonesome hearted lovers, personal tale. Each unharmful soul misplaced inside a jail. We gazed upon the chimes of freedom flashing, and many feel today like they are still inside a jail. Just as we celebrate freedom every year, We also celebrate when we come together every week or every holiday as a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love any and all love, because we are a true chavura, a fellowship. As we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. Sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay, and even though together we're all individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody in, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, which is sung in every synagogue as services commence, because it's an ode to people coming together. Hine Matov. שבטחים גם יחד, הנה בטוב ומתי, שבטחים גם יחד. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Community. We support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It is a part of your intention, your kavanah, that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, what you can correct. You can catch it, fix it. Your intention sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing, but to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Float through space, finding those in need. So send it out. For those you know, and for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. Think of whoever that needs healing, renewal, and love. Or maybe just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets, it's for the earth, it's the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup, and a part of that healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. You don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts, our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer, just like we continue to pray for those poor unfortunate victims of October 7th. We don't have to know them, because we want health, recovery, good life, freedom for everybody around us, just as we mourn those we may or may not have known, but who touched lives wherever they went, such as Morden Yolis, engineer, architect, visionary. Baruch Dayan Ahmed, he touched the lives of millions in one way or another, and I was fortunate to have met him and his family about 55 years ago. Now, as bad as things can be, there are angels who abound. And it is they who hear our prayers and help to bring healing. For Sharon, Lisa, for wonderful Pam, for dear Joel, for Kevin, Scott, for Sherry, Terry, for Joan and Desmo, for poor Lindsay, Pauline, for Alex and Shelley, for Joan and Maria, for Charles, Gloria, for Doria and Teresa, for Fern and Johnny, for Ronnie, Connie, for Luke, Kay, for Nina and Danny, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know and need, for the whole world. For Rosemary. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need wherever they are. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care. Because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Mishaberach. Let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal. Mishaberach, may he who blessed. Because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing, renewal energy in our efforts to share, to care, to love, to grow. Now, remember, I spoke about the 3 phases of Exodus being akin to an introduction, a climax, and finale. We saw the introduction over the last few weeks. This week we have our climax, the splitting of the Red Sea, as we read beshalach, when he let go. Now, who's the he? Was it Pharaoh? Was it God? You may not have an answer with this reading. See, the actual Exodus begins now. The people leave. We're introduced to the pillars of cloud and fire, which will take on such a crucial role from this point forward. The first of bookend deaths occur, and the attitude of the populace becomes incredibly self-evident. Exodus 13:17. And it was when Pharaoh let the people go that God did not lead them by way of the Philistines' land. The Passover ritual has been observed. The execution of the firstborn was done. God released Pharaoh's will so that he would let the people go. Notice had been given. The world knew who God was, what he could do. His objectives in having himself known have been met. Perhaps all the things on his, her, their vision board were coming to fruition. But here is this group that's been subjugated for 430 years and were completely provided for, given their food, their water, their lodgings. They knew nothing of independence, of freedom, of initiative. They would have to learn. And what they ultimately learned has been passed down to us. So that, friends, no dream is too big, no challenge too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. And we've been achieving that for all these thousands of years. They've been slaves for generations. If not physically, certainly mentally. Decision-making, willpower, responsibility has not been a part of their lives. One does not acquire responsibility instantly when one becomes free. A group of wanderers doesn't suddenly become a nation of laws, ritual, ethics. It has to be forged over time. Facing opponents, having to take arms and fight would terrify these people. Their natural reaction would be to turn and flee. But the Red Sea situation is different. With the Egyptian army behind them and an open sea in front of them, they don't need to make a decision. They don't need to exert willpower. They don't need to take responsibility. They have no choice. They must go forward. They need to be turned into a nation, but how? This is the great climax. Is there any image more burned in the mind than in the 10 Commandments with the splitting of the Red Sea? Thank you, Cecil B. DeMille. Exodus 14:10. And the children of Israel raised their eyes, and here was Egypt coming after them. They were very afraid. And the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, was it because of an absence of graves in Egypt that you took us to die in the wilderness? What is this you've done to us to bring us out of Egypt? The people, in their complaint to Moses, and this is just a sign of what's to come, show who they are. They are fear personified. They ask whether they'd been better off in Egypt with everything given. But that would interfere with God's plan. Exodus 14:7. And I'm strengthening Egypt's heart, and they'll come after them. And I'll be glorified against Pharaoh. The people cower in fear as God attains his glory. Fear. We wear it as a badge. The great gift of Jacob and his sons. It's the great thief of life. It is built into the DNA all of us, so that we need to be reminded annually that we are actually free and can have freedom. This is just a quick insight into what we will be seeing from these people. Exodus 14:21. And Moses reached his hand out over the sea, and the Lord drove back the sea with a strong east wind all night, turned the sea into dry land. The sea was split, and the children of Israel came through the sea on the dry ground, and the water was a wall to them at their right and to their left. What a scene that was. What a trip that was. From when they left, there was something special. Exodus 13:21. And the Lord was going in front of them by day in a column of cloud to show them the way, and by night in a column of fire to shed light for them, so as to go by day and by night, fire and cloud. The Bible and rabbinic literature are full of stories of clouds. They hide God from man. They act as his chariot. They accompanied the ark. They rested over the tabernacle. They were the association of wisdom. And we all seek wisdom. And we find it all around, and quite often we find it, in songs. Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. Clouds. We love clouds. This cloud was in no one's way. It was a guide. Now the people are going to be taken to where there is no turning back, and God will strengthen Pharaoh's heart to have him go after the people. That suits God's will. Exodus 14:3. And Pharaoh will say about the children of Israel, they're muddled in the land, the wilderness closed them in. I'll strengthen Pharaoh's heart. He'll pursue them, and I'll be glorified against Pharaoh and against all of his army, and Egypt will know I am he who causes being. And Lord strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the children of Israel. This whole story tells us that no one has a choice. Pharaoh had no choice. The people have no choice. Pharaoh was instructed he had no choice. He had to go after the people. The people had no choice. They had to go to where there was a sea in front of them and an army behind them. Their back is to the wall, sea on one side, an army on the other. Oops. There's nowhere to go but forward. Friends, when our backs are to the wall, we take a stand and we decide, stay and fight, perish, move forward. We have and we do, often quaking in fear, choose to go forward, and we survive and we thrive. There's nothing we can't accomplish. These people had everything during their period of captivity, and now they will have everything handed to them by God. The whole description of the food from God, the manna from heaven, is like watching, Abbott and Costello do Who's on First. As you read this, you notice there's almost something very pagan taking place. Elements are playing a role that's never found in Judaism, but which the people would have been very familiar with. But of course, there was no religion at the time. So we have cloud and wisdom. We have the new calling card of the God of Exodus, fire, powerful, explosive, creative, destructive. We are introduced to this new branding with the burning bush, and we will see its true power at the epiphany of the Decalogue. If you remember it, serves you well. We're golden again and right. So I'm gonna unpack all my things and sit for the kids. No man alive will come to you with another tale to tell. You know that we shall meet again if your memory serves you well. Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Notify my next of kin, this wheel shall explode. This is the beginning of a 40-year continuous miracle. Never before or since, that we're aware of, has man been the recipient of that kind of exposure to God or the benefits of that kind of intimacy. This generation will be known as the wilderness generation, the most unique group in history, who had the pleasure of God's company every day for 40 years. Daily exposure, pure knowledge of the deity. This was a generation who had no idea what our term of belief in would mean, because they had belief that their knowledge of God was not belief but knowledge. How interesting that life would be. They had living proof every day. We have to believe in something. This generation saw God and experienced miracles on a daily basis for 40 years. But did they believe? Did they have faith? Did they know? Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts, a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know it's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. The hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe somehow you will. When you believe. Now that's a great song, but it's a lie, because we do not believe. Overall, we succumb to fear. You don't have to. It is a choice. It is always a choice. There are miracles in your life every day. Freedom is there, and that's why Passover, the Festival of Freedom, was the most important of all biblical holy days. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everybody. An end to terror, an end to hatred. Remember, we are a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, healing to all who need it. Please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you do love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It is our intention, our kavana, cause, our effect. It's all linked. You always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being. Keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because that's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because your deepest source of real power, it lies in your consciousness, in your ability to be mindful to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Don't tune it out, tune it in. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief and what they mean to you. Never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too, because we share together. We learn together and we help each other because we are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them and tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. The great lesson of Esau, of Joseph, forgiveness. Listen to the voice of God. He, she, it, them, they, whatever, talks to you. And like the wilderness generation, we are now exposed to God's glory, sometimes referred to later as the grace of God. Well, it began with this cloud. And you'll see it referred to specifically. Exodus 16:10, and it was Aaron speaking to all the congregation of the children of Israel. They turned to the wilderness, and here was the Lord's glory appearing in a cloud. If you find it, in your heart, can I be forgiven? Guess I owe some kind of apology. I've escaped death so many times, I know I'm only living by the saving grace that's over me. Yes, my friends, the saving grace is there for you and it's over you. Vulnerability is our strength, not our weakness. Thank you for joining me. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.